welcome everybody. I'm so excited to have Dr. Trish on this podcast. She is a trauma specialist and ancestral mentor who helps women move from survivorship to soul led life. Blending logic with mysticism, she guides clients to explore their ancestral roots while awakening a deep sense of self. And her work has been recognized by publications, nonprofits, and industry professionals alike. And we are going to talk about everything from burnout to balance and learning to embody feminine energy in a world that often pushes women to operate from their masculine. Like
Oof.
me, I'm very
Oof.
much leading from my masculine and just recently started to feel more feminine. But I
Mm.
want to explain to everybody, first of all, like what is the difference between our feminine and our masculine?
First of all, everyone, great introduction. Okay, I did not pay her to say that, but that was a really great intro. But I did give her a little bio, so thank you for the great intro, my babe. Great question. First and foremost, I want to put it out there that when it comes to energy on its own, like if we're just kind of like zooming out with like the concepts and ideas of energy is non-binary. There's technically no gender assigned to it. However, we do like to assign gender just for a logical and practical understanding of this kind of information in our very like complex human brains to like put into this like 3D space where we can talk about it. And so every single person, even like nature on its own, right? Like we are akin to nature, we contract and expand just like nature. Every single person has masculine and feminine energy. It is within us. It is literally coded in our DNA. It is ancestral. It is just a part of us, right? Because like I said, if everything contracts and expands, there's always a yin and yang of something. And that is the same in relation to the masculine and the feminine. And so, historically, we like to understand the dualities of the energy as masculine being related to taking action, being able to produce, being able to go and be productive, while the feminine is all about like the flow, the surrendering, the allowance of life, right? And so we can see how these two energies can kind of like breathe into each other and they operate in this very like dynamic, living kind of like organism with one another. And so the way that I like to expand on the way that energy works is that everyone has a core energy, right? If you are biologically a female, your core energy is usually more feminine. However, with everything that's happening in modern society and the way that women have needed and want to wear so many hats, the way that we've industrialized gender norms and stuff like that, a lot of women have been driven to become either hyper masculine or they just like completely give up their feminine side because they literally have to. They literally have no choice but to like operate in their masculine overdrive, which then leads them to like panic, burnout, et cetera, so on
I
and so
mean, you
forth.
described me there. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
I think now I'm a lot less panicked, a lot less anxious, and all of those things because I'm
Yeah.
leaning into the tools that help me, I think, get more into my feminine. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
as leaders and founders and, high powered, execs or
High
any,
performing women for
yeah,
sure.
exactly,
Yeah.
high performing
Yeah.
women, I think they tend to operate from a masculine energy, like you said.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
so,
you
yeah.
have to in a way, because the thing about women is like we have such an incredible creative psyche and creative intellect, and we have so many things and ideas that we want to bring to life. I mean, that is the primordial energy of the feminine is we literally have a creative windmill inside of our bodies and inside of our nervous systems that it's natural for us to want to activate our masculine side and like do all of the things that we want to do and focus on all the things that we want to do. However, a question that I always love to pose with women is, okay, cool. Like we're in this place, women have fought for sovereignty and autonomy, et cetera, et cetera. However, is feeling burned out from this freedom that you're trying to create and build so feverishly, is that part of the autonomy? Is
Mm,
that part of your sovereignty to feel
mm,
like so burnt out and
mm.
exhausted?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so. So it's a nice conversation to have in terms of like, okay, well, great, we're in modern society. How can I delegate my energy to like having it be this way and then
Yeah.
having my masculine do this?
Yes. And I'm glad you just mentioned that because I want to talk about how that imbalance shows up in our
Oh,
lives, at home or at work or in our health.
yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
give us some examples? Because some people might not
So
even
many.
realize.
So many, so many. Um, I think something that really pops up for me, and I know that so many women can relate to this, is, again, like, because we have such an incredible creative windmill inside of our psyches as women. Again, we're very feverish and like passionate and intense about what it is that we want to do and what we want to see birthed into this
Right.
very short human life, right? Like women are so good at that. I feel like when women have this idea, whether it's a business idea, a project idea, creative idea, or even like getting shit done around the house, like if you like, do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like you have this idea and then you'll just go for it. Right.
Yep.
And you just get lost in this like timeline. Anyway, so women have this incredible ability to like have this idea, will focus on it, be really intense and passionate about it until it's done. And
Yeah.
I think that that is something that's really, really cool about women because it shows us where our capacity lies, how intense we can become. However, we've kind of like hidden that intensity from the world. Anyway, that's a different conversation. But something that I see all the time in relation to an energy imbalance specifically is burnout and
Yeah.
like the overperformance, and underperformance actually, because something that I talk about when it comes to burnout specifically with high performing women, whether you are a founder, a leader, a more than a full time mom, a CEO, or like traditional, whatever it
Yeah.
is that you're doing, burnout is a major theme that so many of us can relate to. And something about burnout that I feel that we don't talk enough about is, to me, burnout is like two sides of the same coin. We traditionally understand burnout to be this, this cycle of, okay, cool, I am gonna, do this thing. I'm gonna overwork because I have to. I gotta push through my fatigue and my exhaustion. I've done the thing. And then because I've exhausted myself so much, I am forced to collapse. Great, cool. So now I've taken that time to be in my collapsed mode, but then I feel behind again because I've collapsed. And then
Hmm.
the cycle continues over and over again.
Hmm.
And then the other side of the coin of burnout that I actually feel like is prevalent, but we don't really talk about is this idea of overthinking and over ruminating about something and underperforming on it.
Mm.
So it's almost like your mental preoccupations about whatever it is that you're dreaming or fantasizing about takes up all of your energy because you're not actually using that energy to do something about it.
That's really great. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I
Definition of it.
actually
Yeah.
see a lot in my personal practice is more of that burnout where there's a lot of the mental fantasy, but then like the underfeeling and underdoing of it.
Yeah, I relate more to the latter. And I would say some things that, you know, showed up in my life were just, I was snappier with my
Oh
kids.
yeah,
My
of
patience
course.
level was low.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't present. I was in a rush all the time because
Oh,
I never
it's
felt
it's
like
not a great feeling. It's
no,
not
I
a
just,
good feeling.
listen, before this past January, I was working, a full-time job and doing Mama Soul. And
Yeah, yeah.
just this year, I went all into my business. And
Woo!
thank you. It's been amazing. And it's allowed me to get more into my feminine for sure,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
my mind is on, one thing instead of managing two things. And then also, in addition, of course, my children and my
Of
family.
course. It's not easy to
No,
like be more than a full-time mom and run a business and take care of a household. It's a lot.
no. And I think like some of the things that have really helped me is if you commit to taking care of yourself more, you work a lot less to achieve the same results. Because
100%.
if I, like, for example, we were talking earlier, Trish, about how I started doing breath work and meditation like regularly and journaling
Yeah.
and all those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And things just started happening for me, things
Yeah.
just, accounts that I had reached out to hadn't gotten back to me, all of a sudden called me, out of the blue. And that's a lot less, that's a one less email that I had to send to follow up with that person, and it's because I am magnetizing good things to my life. And so, I think something that can really help women is, if in the morning or whenever they can make the time for it, is
Yeah.
don't feel guilty about taking that small amount of time, whether it's, could be 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can afford yourself. Mine, I do a 25-minute breath work in the morning and then I journal. So I give myself, probably 45 minutes to myself. I get up early and
yeah.
I do it. And not everybody wants to get up that early, but you make time for what you want, right?
Correct,
And
correct.
so when I do that and I start my day in that way, I notice how much better my day flows. So
Absolutely.
yes, I love talking about this. Can you talk about why traditional self-care like spa days or bubble baths isn't really always enough to heal burnout?
Oh, yeah, of course. Because it's literally like putting a band-aid on a festering wound.
Yeah.
It's not a one size fits all. And not to say that those things and those experiences can be very like curative and healing. Of course, that like it can be. I mean, if I were to, book myself like a spa weekend at whatever place, like it would absolutely be healing. However, again, that's not necessarily the root cause. That's
Yeah.
just kind of something nice to like pepper your life with and have like a lifestyle with that. As a trauma specialist and as like a nervous system mentor, like I feel like a lot of this stuff goes a lot deeper than something that is more external and something like, again, those things can be very curative and healing, right? And to me, those are more supplemental
Okay.
and like more of yeah, just something like nice in order to like gift yourself. But the thing is too is like a lot of self-care and I guess like traditional self-care, it's all part of the wellness industrial complex. And my very hard and contrarian view about the wellness industry is first and foremost, it's a $4 billion industry. And so they capitalize on a lot of people's insecurities, but also incompetence when it comes to wellness. And so a lot of my work is doing a lot of like education and re education about learning how to resource yourself and like making yourself well from the inside. That way, when even you, let's say, have the finances or whatever to like go book yourself a spa day or a trip or whatever, it can be supplemental to all of the things that you're already doing. Like what you were saying, right? You spend the morning doing your meditation, your breath work, and your journaling, and like, fuck yes, you're good for the day. Like you're good to go. And
Yeah.
so that is the work that I prefer talking about. And a lot of women, especially like women who are like ready to go, they're high performing, they got a lot of shit to do, a lot of things to take care of. They will bypass something like that because they think it's elementary.
Mm,
But is it elementary or do you actually just not want to sit down with yourself and see what
yeah.
happens? Is
Yeah.
there like a sense of avoidance or resistance? And so the message that I want to share with women, whomever is listening to this, is instead of resisting it, why not just work with it and see what happens? And honestly, 25, 30 minutes is great, but I tell every woman that I work with inside of my practice, if you can't sit down with yourself intentionally without a distraction, no phones, no music, whatever, for 5 minutes, 5 minutes in a day, you literally have no life. You don't have life.
Like
Sorry.
5 minutes, just sit with
5 minutes.
yourself.
All it takes is 5 minutes. Like I hear it all the time. And even this is something that like I'll do for myself. And I know you can relate to this. But like even when I go outside, if I've had a busy day with clients and I'll go outside for like 10, 15 minutes, put my feet in the grass and just like breathe in some fresh air,
Yeah.
feels so much better. Or
Does.
maybe even getting up from the seat and doing like 10 air squats or something like that. You feel so much better. So it's
Yes.
like take the intentional solitude time to rest, have a reprieve, take a break, whatever. And again, if you don't have 5 minutes, girl, you don't have a life. Like,
Yeah.
and you need to do something about that.
Yes. Totally. No, I totally agree. Would
Mm-hmm.
you say that between what I mentioned, breath work and meditation and journaling, are those what you would recommend to your patients, or what are some other things that people can do that maybe I haven't even thought of?
I think it really depends on everyone. I will say, depending on different women's like nervous systems, sometimes actually breath work can be very triggering.
Mm,
So I don't necessarily want to have that as like a blanket,
sure.
but I would say if people are like coming to this work and they're curious about resourcing themselves from like the energetic perspective and really like using their own battery rather than like the external inputs of
Okay.
other people's batteries or experiences, I would say again, if you can practice sitting with yourself for 5 minutes
Hmm.
without a phone,
Okay.
without a music, that would be a great place to start. Um, I something that I do love to teach in my practice with women is yeah, that intentional solitude, but also learning how to process properly. Whether it's like in a journal or like a gratitude style, whatever. And so if you can take 5 minutes to like process the raw material inside of your psyche, you literally have the opportunity to like turn it into something. And so it can literally just be a 5 minute practice every day. And then once that starts getting comfortable, expand the time. If you're curious to add in breath work, great, do that. But give yourself that opportunity to like breathe or like
Yeah.
write, like
And now,
even
if
for five
you're going to
minutes.
do a journal, I have specific journal prompts that I do every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's actually a manifestation journal that I just received
Love it.
from a
Love, love,
friend.
love, love, love.
But what do you, for somebody who doesn't have this journal,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you tell your clients to write about?
Oh, this is I love an intentional writing practice because again, it allows us to like turn the raw material in our psyche to something that's very like alchemical, something that's artistic, something that's intuitive. And it's amazing when women actually practice this, they'll literally start making so much money. They'll start getting wealthy because they turn all of their ideas into something.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you let's say you are someone who's working like on abundance and like manifestation. I actually don't even like saying the word manifestation. I prefer the word like alignment.
Yeah.
Um but like if you're kind of in that space and you're like, okay, I want to get like juiced up so I can like bend reality to like my own will and my own desires, start the writing practice and say you like don't have access to a journal prompt. That is like perfect for me. I would actually prefer you didn't have a journal prompt.
Okay. You
Okay,
just do
because
automatic writing. That's one thing I practice.
literally, it's just like, and again, it's like if you open the page and you're like, fuck, I don't know what to write about, you can literally write about that. I
Yeah.
don't know what to write about right now. My brain is really empty, but you know what? The coffee I'm drinking is really good right now. Da, 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 da. And again, might feel really strange and weird and resistant at first, but again, don't go against the resistance. Just work with it and see what
Yeah.
happens. And anyone and everyone guaranteed, I promise you will be surprised at what raw material comes out and like literally exorcises out of you. And if you don't have anything alchemical to present, come back to me and like leave me a hate comment. But I highly doubt that that would
No,
happen.
and I can attest to this because
Yeah.
I was once told by my favorite psychic that I see very,
Ooh,
I see, oh,
love.
she's just the best. Her name's Jessica Rachel.
Mm.
But she had said to me that to practice automatic writing. And so I
Yes.
mentioned that earlier, but for those who don't know what automatic writing is, you literally just put pen to paper and you just
Yeah.
write what comes out, which is what we were just talking about. And in every single time that I have done this, I'm telling you, my guides share with me like a tidbit of information that I need to know how to move on to the next step.
Yes, yes,
They do.
yes, yes,
This is how
yes.
they speak to me. It's
Yep.
through
Yep.
writing. And so I feel very, that's like when I can connect to my guides. That's after I do my breath work and I am in a meditative state, I'm telling you, first of all, the breath work has gotten me able to go into
Oh,
a deep meditative state because it's really
love.
hard for me to get there
Yeah, yeah,
without doing something like that. And then once I'm
yeah.
there, I choose to journal, and that's
Yes.
when I can connect with my guides.
Yes, it's
Um,
so good. I love that you said that, babe, because I was also going to add to like the intentional writing practice is if you're looking for clarity, like clarity isn't just going to show up. Like you can't will clarity to come into your life. Like you have to attempt to clarify yourself. And you
yep,
can do that with an intentional writing practice. If you're feeling stuck or hopeless, or even if you're like bottled up in some way, if you've woken up from sleep and you're feeling fucking angry, like put
yeah,
it somewhere. Put it somewhere.
yep,
Don't let that raw material live inside of you. Let it live somewhere else, you
yes,
know?
totally.
So, yeah.
So you teach that creating structure and safety, which is the masculine, helps
Yes.
the feminine flourish. So I wanted
Yes.
to ask you, can you give me an example of this practice, essentially?
Ooh, okay. So, what's really funny about this is actually, let me just start here by saying that, the way that I like to kind of envision the masculine is like the big iron cauldron.
Okay.
Okay. And we are what's inside the feminine.
Oh, I love that.
And she boils and she curdles and she's the
Mm,
flame and she's roaring, right? And it's
mm,
like the iron cauldron. I love how this is giving like witchy vibes.
Me too. I love it.
The iron cauldron is the masculine, right?
Mhm.
It's strong, it's secure. No matter how wild and chaotic the water and the fire is inside the cauldron ain't gonna break.
Mhm.
Like it's secure, right?
Mhm.
That is our infrastructure, right?
Okay.
That is our foundation, right?
Okay.
And so what I see a lot when it comes to alchemizing energy and becoming like more harmonious with the masculine energy is I see a couple of things. One, a lot of women have pivoted into hypermasculine mode and then they're like, "Oh my God, I'm in my masculine. I have to like pivot and I go over to my feminine and then they're way too scared to like touch the masculine side." So they will either completely let go of structure, but then it's the same feeling. It's like you completely let go of structure, but then you're kind of like waiting, there's no like certainty to like the day or what it is that you want to do. You're kind of just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you will start feeling this like perceived sense of like safety and comfort. But as we know, comfort is a cage and we don't like that. We
Mhm.
want to grow and transform out of comforts. And then I'll also see another side of the masculine and women kind of wanting to like exercise their masculine where it's almost like I'm in my masculine and I feel very very secure about that, and the feminine is almost like too scary to touch.
Mm.
So again, it's kind of like similar to like two sides of the same coin when it comes to the
Mhm.
masculine. And so when it comes to structure with the masculine,
Yeah.
again, like, I think structure is amazing. However, I don't necessarily believe that we need to live and die by it. And a lot of people do live and die by structure. But then they wonder, like, okay, I have my structures in place, but I still don't feel good. Like, this doesn't
Mhm.
make sense. Like, even when it comes to like a morning rhythm or a morning routine, for example, right? Like, I've had women come to me and they're like, okay, I want to make my lifestyle non-negotiables for the morning. So I'm set up, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, cool. We do the lifestyle non-negotiables in the morning. I see them 2 weeks later and they're like, yeah, no, I had days when I skipped. And then when I skipped, it didn't feel good. And that's not the point, right? Like, obviously, we want you to have your morning rhythm and your morning routine to set you up. However, if there's a day that you don't have an opportunity to do breath work and journaling, that should not, you know, essentially break your whole day down.
No, I didn't. So I'll admit, like this morning, I didn't have the time. And you know what I
Yeah.
did instead?
Yeah.
I worked out. And that's another form.
Exactly.
Like you can
Exactly.
just you do what works for you.
Yes.
And I really don't try. I really do try to do it every day because it makes me feel good, right? Like
Yes.
doing it to make
100%.
myself feel good. But
Yes.
if I don't do it, yeah, I try to think of another way that I can, help myself.
Yes, and that is your feminine literally trying to alchemize what is not there, right? And so sometimes when I like to teach about like structure and the masculine, I prefer teaching it in the viewpoint and the concept of like leadership and taking action
Mhm.
instead.
Mm.
So for example, let's say like do you have a lot of like founders and CEOs who are going to be watching this?
Maybe.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Whatever. Whomever founders, leaders, whomever is going to be watching this, like say as an example, you have the whole week planned out, right? You take Sunday and you're like, okay, I'm going to plan this next week, bada bing, bada boom, great, cool, whatever. Like, we want the structure to be in place for like certainty and predictability, but
Mhm.
I don't want women to like hinge on that because the minute that you start relying on predictability and like what is going to be certain for the week, the months, etc., you then actually disrupt the energetic flow and then you go into survival mode.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't necessarily want that. Like structures and systems to have in place in life, therefore the masculine, are there so that you can take action, so that you can feel safe to take action in whatever it is that you're going to be doing,
I
right?
it's a skeleton. It's like a skeleton outline.
Yes. It's
And
an
you
infrastructure.
yes.
It's, yeah, skeleton. It's the ladder, right? It's like it's like running a business without having any like automated systems to take care of your clients. Like, you could obviously do that manually, like one by one, but you're going to be very tired and burnt out. And that's something that we don't want for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
How can someone like start shifting this to,
Mm,
today, especially if they feel like they're stuck in overdrive? You know, I
yeah.
I was in such overdrive before I went all into the business, and there's,
What was that like for you?
oh my God, I felt like a shell of myself. Um,
Oof. Whoa.
I I didn't even like there was no joy. I was
Yeah.
just running and running
Yeah.
and running, and I wasn't just being like it really came down to not being present and just like I said
Mm,
earlier, just like rushing and just it didn't feel good.
yeah. Yeah. Oof, man. That hits when you said that you felt like a shell of a person, because I've also been there in the past in many different iterations, which I'm sure will continue to be a lifelong journey, especially as, we're taking care of a lot of people and we have businesses to run and stuff like that. But I would say if you're a woman and you're seeking to harmonize your energy,
Yeah.
first of all, we have to get crystal clear on your identity, right? And the thing about identity is that, well, first of all, it seems like a really big endeavor, but it's really not. It's just you getting to know yourself at the core level, sans what it is that you do for a living, who you're married to, and how many kids that you have, etc. Like, if you have the ability to describe who you are at your core level, like, girl, you got your identity on lock. And if you don't, then a great place to start, especially like getting to know and like healthify and alchemize your masculine to be like healthier, more leadership oriented, more action oriented, is to get to know what your values and your principles are.
Okay.
Because the sooner that you clarify and understand what your values and your principles are, that becomes your way of life. Therefore, your way of life has become so secure, so stable that everything that you do in life from then on, the way that you create, the way that you love, the way that you operate, the way that you create freedom, will just flow from the feminine, because your values and your principles are in place. So you don't even have to worry about trying to code switch or like be a chameleon like a lot of women will do. You don't have to do that anymore because you are so certain with your values and your principles and the core of who you are. The masculine is set. Then that means all you have to do is flow from there.
Can
Literally,
you can
that's
you
all you have to
share
do.
some of your values and principles that you kind of
Ooh, yes. Okay. The biggest one for me, which has been like a really huge shadow as well, is like honesty and transparency. That is a really big one for me, growing up, I've had a very colorful childhood, and colorful is putting it like very sweetly and nicely, but a very colorful childhood in terms of there was a lot of abuse,
Mm.
etc. And so, you know, for a large majority of my life, there was a lot of like hiding. There was a lot of like white lies, partial truths, because if I was honest and wholesome and authentic and like fully expressed about something, I would get beat up or like something would happen to me, right? And
Wow.
so coming into my adulthood, focusing on alchemizing my energy, focusing on repairing and healing my nervous system, and really taking my alignment seriously to become my own fully embodied person. Honesty and transparency is huge.
Okay.
That is a really, really big one. And then another value set of mine is humanness. And that has become more and more transparent as the years have gone by in business, especially being digital, where a lot of us can overperform.
Yeah.
And something that I've noticed about myself, especially during like my early years of business, there was a lot of like performance, right? Like I was Dr. Trish now, and I need to be taken seriously, therefore I have to present, look, act, and speak that way. Like fuck that. I don't need to be do that. I just need to be myself. And like if people are magnetized to who I am at my core, cool, stay. Like if not, we're just not a vibe. We're just not a match, and that's okay. And before it was not okay with me. I needed like everyone to like me, right? That people pleasing tendency. I needed everyone to like be
Yeah.
in my circle. But again, it's like part of my value set is transparency and honesty and like my humanness and making sure that I am as human as possible, because like I need to find my people and my community. And not to mention, it also makes me feel very good. I don't feel like I'm lying about something. I don't feel like I'm pretending. And pretending is a very exhausting game to play.
Okay, so what now that you are, you know what your principles are. That
Yeah.
was a great example, and thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Mm,
Um, you're saying that by doing that and by living by that way, you
correct.
then are just in flow because of that.
Yes, 100%. Because then my life, the way that I flow, the way that I create and love and operate is no longer dictated by my identity. It's just dictated by who I am,
Mm, yeah,
right? It's there's nothing necessarily perceived. And obviously, okay, like I'm still human. There's plenty of times where I feel like I got to turn up something or I got to turn it down, etc.
yeah,
As long as it's within like your ethos and your principles and like your value system of your own life and like
yeah,
it's aligned in that way, like that's fine. But I don't want women to continue their performance of like code switching, especially if they're looking to like heal their energy, heal their nervous system, and come into the woman that they're destined and supposed to be, because that's not a good formula. You,
yeah,
again, you will eventually get tired and burned out from that because
yeah.
I've been there a trillion times. So,
I think we all have, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
One of the biggest reasons why I wanted you on was because I myself have such an interest in wanting to lean more in my feminine, which I
Yeah.
mentioned I'm feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah,
But
of
can you
course.
explain what does embodied feminine leadership look like to you?
Oh, great, great question. So, first of all, going back to like the original point of it being non-binary, I feel like embodied feminine leadership can be very specific to every single woman, right? Like some women are really coded to just be like the entrepreneur, boss, bitch, animal, primal style. All they want to do is like business, work, leadership, and that fuels them and makes them feel good. For me, I'm kind of a little, I'm like a mixture of wanting to be so primal and animal in the things that I want to do. But again, in my core and in the principle of my life, like my human is softer. Like I'm just much more softer in in the way that I come about and doing things. Not to say that like I don't love a challenge because I do. I love to like drive that kind of mentorship forward. However, I think embodied feminine leadership to me, when I describe it, is being able to lead with equal parts softness and equal parts strategy. So again, it's being caring and catalytic at the same time. It's literally being feminine and masculine at the same time, and
Yeah.
knowing where you can pull from like each reserve.
Yeah. I for so long, before I even started Mama Soul, felt like I was very much in my masculine, and it was just like naturally kind of in my masculine just because
Yeah, of
I was on drive. Like I knew where I wanted to go, and
course.
I feel like I have become so much softer in my delivery, and that was a lesson I needed to learn throughout
Yeah,
my
yeah,
years before taking on this leadership role that I'm in now, because now I can speak to people, in a assertive masculine way, but with that soft undertone, which I like.
yeah.
Most people really, they respond well to. So I
Yes.
want to know, how has your own leadership style evolved since you've been embracing this work?
Oh my God. I think my babe, something that I want to add to is like, the softness part because like I'm gonna put this out there and maybe some people might agree with me. I don't know how you feel about this, but like strategy is easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Cool.
agree. I actually
Like,
totally agree.
cool. You make a plan, you got a blueprint, you experiment. These things didn't work. Maybe you kind of refresh that, implement something new. Great, cool, whatever,
Make a
right?
to-do list, whatever it is. Yeah.
Easy. Strategy is easy. However, softness, which is very much in our nature and nurture, it's literally coded in our primordial DNA as women. That is more difficult. And I think that when it comes to the root of alchemizing that energy and embodying that energy for use of leadership in life, etc., it really boils down to safety.
Yeah.
And when you say things like, well, I was on like my mask, overdrive, I've been there too. It really boils down to the lack of safety. Because think about it this way.
Yeah.
If it's so natural for women to like be in flow and feel safe and be creative or whatever, like, and you don't feel that way, it's because you're not safe to do so. You're
Hmm.
either not in a safe environment, or maybe you've had plenty of experiences where you have felt not safe doing those things.
Hmm.
Therefore, my coping mechanism is I'm going to subdue that, I'm going to hide that, I'm going to oppress that, etc.
Hmm.
And so I really think a lot of this boils down to like creating as much safety and attunement in your nervous system as much as possible so that the very natural, innate, divine part of you, which would be your softness, your nurturing quality, the nature of you just comes out,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how has that kind of been showing up in for you? Like,
Oh, yes.
your,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh. Honestly, my babe, when I started taking energetics seriously, because the thing about energetics with me is that I've always loved energetics. Okay. Like I have a long family history of having a lot of medicine people in my family. We have like indigenous Filipino magic that happens in my dad's side of the family. And so energetics, nature cure, like lineage based and earth based wisdom has always been like in my life, in my ethos, and part of that value and principle in my life. And so I've always been very like drawn to it. But again, with certain experiences from childhood, it's been snuffed out. And so I think when I started going to naturopathic school and being around a lot of like earth-based people and kind of waking up to this idea and like concepts of energy, and for sure when I started building a business, that's when I knew I needed to embody energetics more, because there was a part of me in my earlier years of business where I was like, this is cool. Like what I'm doing is fun and taking care of people. It's great, but there's so much more. And there's so much more that I want to like give and teach, but I felt like maybe it was like taboo. And again, like this is part of the performance aspect of my previous life is like, well, I'm Dr. Trish. I'm a naturopathic doctor. Like we don't talk about energy.
Hmm.
Like, we're clinical, we're protocol oriented. They come to us for something and we do this. We don't talk about that.
Hmm.
And so I think like, you know, embodying more of like my own energy has allowed me to become like fuller, and in that way has like shaped my business in so many ways. Like first and foremost, things in my business and the way that I take care of people, but also the way I magnetize my clients has been very easy.
Mm.
Very,
That's
very
that
easy.
to me is all feminine.
Yes, it feels so good. And again, not to say that like I don't go through seasons of business where I'm just kind of like, well,
Yeah.
what's next? What do I do? But that's life, that's entrepreneurship, etc. I would say like that is like a really big piece, but another big piece is my partnership. My partnership is romantic, it's passionate, it's poetic, but also very like raw.
Mm.
And there's not a single part of me that feels insecure in my partnership. And I know I'm fully taken care of in my partnership. And that's part of like the softness and like the trusting and embodying my own feminine leadership, because I've also been able to magnetize a leader.
Yeah. Oh,
And like,
I love that.
yeah, and he fully like he leads our partnership, and like, he has his roles and I have my roles, and we are very like devoted to our roles independently and like interdependently as well. And
Yeah.
so my relationship has been cataclysmic because of that for sure. Um, but I think my like another big one, like adding to that, is just my relationships. So I've healed a lot of the relationship that I have with my mother,
Mm.
the person who's abused me.
Mm.
And we're still healing, but I will say, like, I'm so much more accepting, forgiving, trusting of her, and our relationship has changed in a way where I can actually be around her. Like, we travel together now. That could not be a thing 5,
Wow.
7 years ago. No, that was a no-go.
Wow.
No go. Yeah, like
Come a
I'll
long way.
spend, Yeah, I'll like spend weekends with my parents now, whereas before it was kind of like, okay, cool, like that was a great lunch, everyone. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like affection that happens now, which was not a thing growing up and not a thing even 5 years ago. And so I would say, I guess like zooming out, that really is all about relationships.
Yeah.
The relationship that I have with business, my clients, my partnership, and for sure my family. Also, a really big one for me that I know that a lot of women can, relate to is really strong female community.
Hmm.
I feel like
Yeah.
once I started taking my energetic healing seriously, really incredible women have come into my life.
That's so
Really incredible.
amazing that you just said that. The exact same thing has happened to me.
Yes, and it feels so good because women are so psychic and we need our female community and it
We
feels so
do.
good.
And just recently I relocated to Newport Beach from LA, and in January, and so it's been about 8, 9 months now. And I was really looking for my people. And as soon as I started doing this work and really
Yes.
committing to it, I started attracting these amazing women. And now we've just recently created this group of women that just like really love each other. And
Yeah.
I feel really grateful because I was calling that into my life. And I think I need that to balance me out. Like that's very important to me. I need that.
Yes.
Um,
100%.
and like one of the last things, like something that really interests me is the chakras. And this is the last topic that I want to
Oh,
talk about with
okay.
you. And I've had countless psychic readings, and with each one, I
Mm,
keep getting told you need to work on your root chakra or this chakra or whatever chakra. And so
interesting.
I've been
Interesting.
doing, or my sacral, and so I've been doing all of these exercises. But I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, if somebody is more in their masculine and they want to lean more into their feminine, what
Mm,
is something that you could, first of all, which chakra, I don't know if one is more related to your feminine. I
yes,
think it is
100%.
the root. I don't know, but you have to tell me. The
So
root.
the root is masculine while the
Okay,
sacral is feminine.
that's what I'm. The sacral, and is
Yes.
that which one's right above your belly button?
That one is solar.
Solar.
That's your identity.
Okay, so okay, but then the sacral's right below your belly button.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
guys, I would love. I'm going to take everybody with you through our chakras, and then maybe
Yeah.
if
Take
you
take us, please.
and then you can tell us if there's any exercise. I don't know if you do any exercises with your chakras that,
Mm,
some, I want to kind of give something tangible that anyone
love,
listening
love,
can
love.
do, besides journaling, besides breath work, besides meditation, something maybe they have never thought of. Your
Mm,
chakras are your energy throughout your being. And so the
yes.
root chakra is your almost your genitalia area. It's right. It's the, what is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, I would say it's yeah, it's more towards like the bottom, kind of like at the
The
I don't know about
perineum.
yes,
The
exactly.
perineum.
I was gonna say it's like more closer to like your ass and asshole than anything for sure.
And
Yeah.
your root
Yeah.
chakra, what that's your stability? Is that what you're like?
Yes.
Okay.
So your root chakra, since it's the lowest part of you, that's related to your ability to ground and stay grounded and secure. And
Yeah.
so if you're a woman who's feeling ungrounded, then the opposite of that, if you're a
Yeah.
woman who's feeling ungrounded, insecure, the root chakra is like something amazing to work on
Okay.
for
And then
sure.
we have our sacral, and that's right below our belly button. Tell us about that.
Yes. So if everyone, is this going to be on video, by the
Yeah.
way? Okay, beautiful. So everyone who's with us right now, including you, my darling, if everyone just wants to put like their dominant hand on their womb space. So imagine where the baby grows, right? Right on top of your pussy, like just in the womb space. This is where all of your female internal organs are. This is where you grew a baby. Therefore, this is your birthplace of creation. And this is where you actually house your feminine power. So, a lot of people in the spiritual consciousness space love to do like womb magic and womb medicine. However, like for me, that's cool, that's fluffy. But I like to be more practical and like grounded about things. And so let's say you're in this place and you're like, okay, cool. Like I really want to turn on my energy, my magnetism, my alignment from my womb into my whole body.
Hmm.
The greatest thing that you could do, honestly, is shake ass. Literally.
Interesting.
Shake ass. I mean, turn on your favorite hip hop rap song or whatever is gonna like everyone knows that feeling. Everyone knows the feeling of putting on your headphones,
Yeah.
turning on your favorite song, and it's just the energy that pours into you, and you're just vibing, you're dancing, you're
Yeah.
jumping around, etc. And let's say shaking ass is a bit too like, oh my God, I've never done that before. Like I'm feeling a little shy.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Not a problem. What you could literally do is like sway side to side and like feel your hips moving. It
Okay.
can literally be as simple as that. Or yeah, if you want to go full twerk mode, that's great too.
And that is meant to do what?
That is meant to turn on your sacral chakra
Okay.
so that you can feel more embodied, more within yourself, more
Okay.
empowered, more in your feminine. Trust me, you guys, again, if you've never done this work before and you do it, there's going to be resistance, but you know what? That's how you know that shit's working. So don't go against the resistance.
Yes.
Work with it.
I love that.
Work with it.
Okay. Then we
Yes.
have above our belly button, which is our solar plexus.
Yes.
And
So the
that
solar
that
plexus.
is, tell us what that is.
The solar plexus is all about identity, right? So this is again going back to the idea of okay, if you don't know who you are at like your core level in your heart, soul, being, spirit, and you're only thinking about yourself from the brain logical space, please get to know what your values and your principles are.
Hmm.
And then you can get to know your core. And so, even if we're putting this on like a nervous system type of level, I've had plenty of women come to me and they have like GI issues.
Yeah.
A great place is to energetically work on are your values and your principles, the way that you are living life and the way that you are in alignment to your life. If you're not in alignment with your life, you will have GI issues. Trust that.
Wow. That's
Trust that.
interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
And then we have our throat chakra. Is that the next one?
Heart.
Heart, sorry, heart. And then
Heart.
throat. Yes, heart.
Yes. Yes.
I
Okay. So
think,
we're going
yeah.
bottom up. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. So then once we're in our heart chakra, so that's in the middle of our bottom and our top, which means that the heart chakra is all about union. And it's the way that you are within yourself, right? What lights you up, what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel really safe and secure, who you are at your core level. So you think of your heart chakra like
Okay.
the bridge between your top half, which is technically your masculine, and then your bottom half, which is your feminine.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yes, yes. And so let's say, you're working on your heart chakra and you really want to like open up a lot of like love and magnitude, right? Think about all of the places that you're holding grief and sadness and instead of stuffing it down, confront it. Do it with your intentional writing practice for 5 minutes and like connect to that part in your lungs, in your heart and your chest and see what happens
I love that.
for heart healing.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Throat, your voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, throat is actually one of my favorite things because this is something that I have had to learn as an educator. So the throat houses your thyroid, right? Like we know that. And so let's say you're a woman who has thyroid issues of some sort, hypo, hyper, whatever. Maybe your like TH numbers happen to be off, etc. By the way, for every woman listening to this or watching this, please get your thyroid checked, okay? Like your thyroid is one of those things that a lot of women don't think about doing for blood work, but
Hmm.
please do so because even physiologically, it helps with a lot of like hormone processing, etc. So we want to know what's happening with your thyroid, okay? So anyway, your throat chakra and your thyroid is literally responsible for the voice and self-expression.
Hmm.
And so, in order for you to express yourself fully, honestly, and be really transparent about what it is that you want to say without feeling afraid,
Yeah.
consider all of the lies you've told
Hmm.
and consider the lie that you still keep telling.
Mm.
And
Okay.
that will wake you up to truths about yourself. Because
Okay.
that's what the thyroid is. It's all about truth telling.
Yeah, I think that's a really good journaling prompt.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have our third eye.
Yes. So the third eye is right in between our eyebrows here. And a lot of people consider the third eye as a means of being able to like see, right? They relate the third eye to the psychic gifts, but I actually like to relate the third eye to something that's more indigenous, which is about leadership.
Mm,
And so when you activate your third eye, not only are you able to craft and envision what it is that you would like to do with your life, your desires, your needs, like you can see it in full, like 4K vision, but your third eye is meant to be action oriented.
mm,
So becoming a leader in that. And so again, if you're mentally fantasizing about something, this is when you are someone who has a lot of like headaches, migraines, maybe you feel like your head is constantly like full of like stuff, or maybe you're someone who has a mind that's like thoughtless. There's not really a lot happening there. A great place to like exercise your third eye would be taking like visionary time.
mm,
So again, that goes back to the practice of like the intentional time of just being with yourself
mm-hmm,
without a distraction.
mm-hmm.
Like connecting to your vision, right? Connecting to like your dreams, your goals, your ideas,
That's
what
exactly
you're
how I use it. Yeah, like when I get,
exactly.
because I do a chakra meditation. Actually,
Hmm.
Joe Dispenza. You can just YouTube it or look it up on Spotify
Hmm.
if anybody's interested in doing a chakra meditation. But it takes you, it's blessing the energy centers, is what he calls it.
Love it. Love,
And
love,
you
love.
just essentially send love to each single chakra. And then, when you get to the third eye, that is where you like envision your future, just like you
Yes.
were saying. And then the last chakra, which is above your head, and that's connecting to
Yes.
the source.
Yes, exactly. So your crown is your connection to God, the divine, universe, source, whatever higher power it is that you believe in and are putting your faith in. This is a great connection source to your ancestors, your spirit guides, your angels, the people who are supporting you from like the other realms and underworld as well. That is a great connection. And so, um, I also love the crown chakra because I feel like the more that you connect with your crown, you're more intuitive.
Yeah.
You have a lot more downloads that come to you, and you're very psychic. Like you start kind of activating and using your psychic gifts, which everyone is born with a psychic gift. You just have to unlock that for yourself.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And for people, and I just want to say this because I didn't really understand chakras before this year, honestly. I like didn't get into
Mm,
them. I didn't know what they were. And now I'm like so interested in
it's
them.
very cool work.
Yeah. And I'm reading this book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is how I started getting really into it, called Becoming Supernatural. And this is where he talks about blessing the energy centers. And Dr. Joe
Yeah.
Dispenza
Yeah.
is very scientific. He's the basis everything on physics, really. And
Yeah. Yeah.
has actually data showing that blessing your energy centers actually can change your life. I mean, it really
Yeah.
can. So this is not just, woo woo. This is real. And
Yeah.
so I really
Yeah.
think if people, commit to leaning into their feminine, but use their masculine for that outline that we talked about, their life
100%.
is their life could really change.
100%. Life is about experimentation and play. Like to every woman who's listening to this, like, you are designed to thrive. You're like,
Yeah.
joy is the only strategy that you need to be following in your life. And so let life be an experimentation. Nothing has to be rigid. Everything can be in as much rhythm and as much routine as you would like it to be.
Okay, I want to end this, Dr. Trish, by you telling us, first of all, where we can all find you.
Oh,
If
yes.
somebody wants to work with you, what you do, please
Yes.
tell us, share with us.
Yes. So, everyone and anyone can find me at Dr. Trish Ferrer on Instagram and TikTok. However, I use both platforms very differently. So, if you're kind of looking for more off the cuff, personality driven mini training, sometimes I can kind of like rant about a couple of things that I see in the industry or the healing spaces. TikTok is the place to go. I have a lot of like mini trainings there, like I said too. And then Instagram is a great place to kind of get a bird's eye view of my work, my vision, my mission, and my medicine. So they're both great. If people have access to both platforms,
Yeah,
cool, follow me there. And then any links or anything that you need for working with me, you can also find there.
amazing. I love that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on,
Oh my
Trish.
God. Thank you for having me. It was such a great
This
conversation.
was such a great conversation.